President Uhuru Kenyatta was in Parliament to comply with Article 132 of the Constitution that requires him to make a State of the Nation address to a joint session of the two chambers of Parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate, an opportunity availed to the President to outline his government's legislative agenda since the executive does not sit in Parliament in the presidential system of administration. And while auditing the Jubilee government's 1 year in office, the President acknowledged that the war against corruption was not yet won and the loophole through which public resources were being wasted remained unplugged.
Honorable members, it is a hard truth that some of our public services are rife with waste and corruption. That waste threatens the productivity we have so painfully begun to build. I have appointed a cabinet committee to return us to prudence and probity in public service. The team has already issued a preliminary report, and soon I will give detailed attention to the proposed measures as we announce them to the nation.
The government has remained on the dock over the state of the country's security, a series of tragic terror attacks raising questions on the Jubilee administration's ability to secure the lives and properties of its citizens. But the President spoke tough on the elements that are perpetuating insecurity in the country, both from within and even beyond borders.
We will not be intimidated. Threats to our sovereignty will indeed be met with our full might. Equity, the Constitution reminds us, is expected from those who make national policy. Equity demands that we attend to our needs and those of our neighbors, especially where the sovereignty of our neighbors is threatened by internal conflict and terror. That, honorable members, is why our troops are in Somalia, helping our troubled neighbor restore its own law and order.
Kenyatta blaming the levels of insecurity in the country to what he termed an unacceptable lack of coordination by the relevant authorities charged with the responsibility of handling crime.
Across our criminal justice system, from law enforcement to our prosecutors, the judiciary, and our correctional services, there has been too little effective collaboration. Too many crimes have been improperly processed, leaving suspects and culprits at large in our communities.
He also outlined the measures that the government was putting in place to deal with insecurity, including hiring more security enforcers, equipping them with modern weapons, and ensuring all the men and women in uniform by July this year.
Contrary to perception, this problem is not a new one, but historical. It is not our creation, but it is our duty to confront it.
The national government 1 year in office has been accused of frustrating the implementation of devolution, but the President, while defending his administration, pointed out that he had allocated more than 30% of the country's budget to the county governments and within 1 year devolved all the functions despite the Constitution giving the national government 3 years to transfer the devolved functions.
But let us be careful in devolving power and resources to the counties. We must remember that to infect our new county governments with the worst vices of the old is to betray the great hope of the Constitution and its tenets of leadership and integrity. Such a betrayal must not happen.
The poaching menace has also dominated the headlines, raising concerns that the country could lose its edge in the tourism sector and ultimately negatively affect the economy. Statistics indicating that the country has in the last 3 months lost 51 elephants and 18 rhinos to the poacher's bullet, even though the Kenya Wildlife Services insists that the crisis had not yet hit the mark of a national disaster.
It is for this reason that I am taking stern measures to address wildlife poaching menace. We will not allow the plunder of our natural capital by greedy individuals hell-bent on causing destruction.
Members of the National Assembly and the Senate will debate Kenyatta's State of the Nation address during their sessions on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday in the coming week. Corruption remains a major challenge for the Jubilee administration, with billions of shillings that would have been used to establish development projects across the country being siphoned by a few. Is the President ready to walk the talk and crack the whip on members of his administration believed to be perpetuating corruption? Francis Gashuri, Citizen Live at 9. Parliament Buildings, Nairobi.